Yes boys, welcome to today's job. Fortunately, it's not the Escort, as much as I know you all want it. Everyone keeps commenting saying, when's Escort coming? It's not the Escort, I wish it were, but it's coming soon, very soon. So, don't know when this video is going to be coming out, but I'm going to be working on the Escort around 2 weeks from now, and hopefully getting pretty near to completion on it, or wiring ready anyway. Yeah, today's job, you might have seen it if you're watching all those other videos, you might have seen this little, whatever it is under this cover. In background at videos. Today's the day where I'm going to get a full day in on that because I've just been doing it around other stuff. But let's get cover off it, let's get it out. It's a Beetle. It's not just any Beetle, so it's still running original engine, still running original air-cooled engine, but this is from a friend of ours at JBM Performance. Check them out. So JBM Performance are Volkswagen tuners and stuff and do all sorts of bits and bobs. Nice little company, and Joe who owns it is a nice lad, I like him. This Escort's actually going to be going to Joe. He's demobilised ECU for me, and once we've got it all running and ready, we are going to be going up to Joe. We're going to be going on Joe's dyno and having a bit of a play with it. So anyway, today's not about Escort. Today's about Joe's dad's Beetle. This is his Beetle. Joe and his dad have restored it. It's took a few years to do it, and I'll tell you underneath, it is spotless. Absolutely beautiful. It is nut and bolted. Perfect. So what they've done is they've converted it to fuel injection. So what that means now is we need to get a lander sensor in exhaust system, and all 4 exhausts need to merge into one, and the lander sensor needs to be after that. So it's not running a carburetor anymore. So this is difficult for us because space is of a premium on this. So Joe's dad, sorry, should I say, still wants it silenced. We've got to get all 4 banks into one and get it all round, get some angles on it. It's going to be no easy task. I've already had a look at this. Joe dropped it off, we had a look at it. I said to Joe, I said, look, I said, this is a nightmare job, this. I said, this is an horrible, horrible job, but we'll get it done, we always do. So he left it with me. I've had it here for a month, easily, and I've just been doing bits and bobs when I can. So, but today's the day where I'm having a full day on it, and I'm hoping to get quite a lot done on it. So, let's get cracking. Also, one thing I forgot to mention a minute ago is what was making life a little bit more difficult. They wanted to retain the original heat exchanger. So for those of you that don't know about Beetles, Beetles are an air-cooled engine, so that means there is no radiator, there's no coolant line. So the way that the Beetles get the heat into the cab is through an heat exchanger off the exhaust system. So we've got to keep that, which is also adding more to the job. This cover weren't on when Joe fetched it. I think it's like a reproduction cover. I have had to trim it or whatever, and I've got that in there now. So that's your pipe, comes off of there, I'll come through this hole, and then you'll see when we go underneath in a minute, there's like a port onto exhaust, and they call it an heat exchanger. So we have got to keep that as well. But you can see here Joe's put a pickup ring on it, so when you're converting to ignition, you need to have a crank sensor, you've got to have a pickup ring, and we've got a coil pack now, so we are firing individual coils. Yeah, so it's a more modern way to run an old engine, a much better way, should I say, a much better way to run an old engine. It'll make the drive much more nice to drive. So give you a quick look round at car on outside. Paint job on it is stunning, by the way. It's a really nice paint job on it. There's no runs or whatever, so credit to whoever painted it. He did tell me, but I can't remember. So yeah, it is a really nice looking thing. A little bit dusty because it has been here a while, but hopefully it's not going to be here too much longer. We're going to get it back to him very shortly. Non-runner at the moment, so there will be no before, there will be no after, which is a shame, but I'm not expecting it to sound like a 911 turbo no matter what we do. I don't think it's going to sound great either way. Right, let's get it up in air. We've not had it on 2-poster yet, we have had it on 4-poster, so we're just going to make sure we can get it on 2-poster without causing any damage to it. It does look pretty solid, so we'll just see how that goes. We'll get it up, we'll give you a quick look round, and we'll get cracking. Here's what we've got then. So this is the heat exchange, what I was telling you about. So you've got, let's come around here, look, you've got one exhaust port, what comes off up there, comes down through this heat exchanger, comes out on there. Same on the other side, and then that like conduit tube comes off of there, goes through that hole, and goes up onto your heater box on top. So we've got to keep that working, otherwise this car will have no heating. So what we've got to do is we've got to get this one, this one, this one, and this one all linked into 4 into one, sorry, so 4 into 1, because the lander sensor plug is up here in this corner. So the lander sensor's got to go up in this top corner, then we've got to come round into a silencer, twin exit out of there. That's the plan. Now, it ain't going to be easy because I don't know how it looks on camera, but there is not a lot of space here. There's no hangers to hang anything. So I think this is the first time I've ever done a Beetle exhaust, so I'm not sure how the hangers usually go. I've got a feeling they probably would have been mounted to engine. So like on T4 camper vans, Volkswagen T4 camper vans, your hangers are like on your engine. Pretty sure they would have been same on Beetle. Not sure. I'm going to look into that because we are going to have to, well, we're going to have to hang this lot somehow. Right, we need to make some 2-to-1s then. So what is a 2-to-1? It's where we link 2 pipes into 1 pipe. So I'm going to show you how to make a 2-to-1 split. Showed you a million times in all my other videos. But I want to show you again. So we actually need 3 on this job because we're going 4 ports into 2, and then we need another one to link the ends of them 2 into another 2. That's probably just blown your mind. You're probably confused as hell now thinking, what are you talking about? Keep watching and I'll show you. So each one of these is a 15-degree bend. We make 2 cuts, and when we make 2 cuts on both of them, it leaves us with a 2-to-1. Now we will need to alter lengths because these are going to be 38mm in, and it's going to be 44mm out. Show you why as we keep building. So let's make the other 2 of them, and then let's make 2 44mm ones. There we go then, all of them cut out. Next job, weld, 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 and then we'll start having a bit of an offer up where we're going to sit them, because at the moment I have got no idea. Space is of a premium on this job. Right, so the list of problems what I've got on this build is as thick as the Yellow Pages, which if you're not watching in England is an old phone book. It's about this thick. That's how many problems I've got on this build. But one of the problems I've got is that they are not round, and we're going to sort that. This is off of my bender. It's a piece of tool and it's used to make some, like I said, I've got various bits of tooling to make different fitments. This is just one of them, which I think is probably going to do a job. What I'm going to do is going to get it in my hydraulic press, and we're going to press that into there, and hopefully it's going to round it off. It's either going to kill it, or it's going to round it off. Let's find out, shall we? Alright, don't fit in press. Tell you, it's a job that keeps on giving this. Hey, moment of truth. Is it going to kill it, or is it going to round it? Oh, looking good. I've got high hopes. That looked good. It's a damn sight better, I'll tell you that. Touch more and she'll do. That is absolutely beautiful. Oh my god, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right, just got to do that one up to 2 inch. The other one of them to match this. Oh, I'm probably mind blowing you, because even I don't know what's going on. Joe at JBM Performance. I am cussing you right now for bringing me this job. Awful job. But we don't shy away from a challenge. I'll get it done. So I haven't laid any pipe work out just yet because we need to figure out what space we've got available. So what we've done is we've meant box first. So the box is going to go here like that. No idea, I hope so. What we're going to do is we're going to put two like little chambers in the edge of this because we've got to come into one end at box, but I kind of want both tips to work. So I have a feeling this one might be the more dominant one, but at the moment I can't really do much about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a chamber there, so a cap there, cap there, cap there, cap there. This is going to have perforated tube and wadding in it. This bit's going to be an empty chamber on both ends, and then these little end bits will also have a bit of perfing. And we're going to like put that on there like that and get it as far back as we can so we can shorten these down to where we want them. I tell you what, space is disappearing fast. Space is disappearing fast. There ain't any. Oh, this is a nightmare. Right, let's make this silence and see how we get on. So here's one of the exchanges off. Thought I'd just give you a quick run around of how it works. Not everyone knows, I'm guessing a lot of you do, but not everyone will know how it works. So on modern cars, the heating comes from the coolant system. The engine heats up the coolant and then that runs through an heater matrix in the car, which you've got a blower fan behind, which essentially shoves the heat off the matrix into the car. That's how it works. But before that was a thing, this was how it used to go. So this is a air-cooled engine. The heat from the exhaust would build up in this heat exchanger, and then you've got a cable from inside linked to this flap. What that flap does is try and hold it and show you. What that flap does is opens like that. Inside you've got a blower motor what will be sucking, and that sucks the heat out of the exhaust into the cab. Pretty simple really. You can see why Joe wanted to keep it, just because without it you're not going to have any heat in it car. So yeah, we've got to keep it. It makes our life a hell of a lot harder. This job would have been so much easier if we weren't keeping these, but hey ho, they want it, that's how they want it. So that's how we're going to do it. First job then, we'll just clean some paint off of these. Let's get these V-bands welded on. Right, so here's one I've not showed you before. So a technique what we're using on this, we're using some model blocks, which is essentially like Lego for big kids. So this is from a company called IC Engine Works. Now they're over in America. We have had to import these across. We've used them before. They're a tool for making manifolds essentially, and that's pretty much what this is. We are making a manifold. It's going to be one weird looking thing, but that's the way it's got to be on this car, the space we've got available. But that's essentially what we're making. So what we use is we use these. They're like clipped together model blocks. And you know, if you can see very well on there, so you'll do like each one of them will be like 15 degrees, and then we have straight ones as well. What this does is it helps us mock up the shape in plastic, and we can twist this around, change it around, make sure we're clearing things and making sure because the aim of the game here is I'm trying to keep everything equal length. If we don't keep it equal length, it's going to sound like a Spitfire. I mean, they won't be equal length anyway, because you've got the back ports what come round and underneath the engine, so they're longer than the front ports. But if you've got every single one of them all a different length, the thing's going to sound like a Spitfire. So we're going to try and keep what we're building as equal length as we possibly can. And it also aids a little bit in performance. Now, I'm limited by the space I've got available. I can't get everything absolutely picture perfect as much as I'd like, but we're going to get it pretty damn close. And only the benefit of using these as well is it makes sure we're happy with the look of it. We don't want it all to look funny. We want this to look like it all flows like water and it all fits together nice. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what this is about really. So this is one that we've mocked up. We've already mocked the other side. We've already mocked this bottom one up. Connor's just cutting the parts for that now because we need that one in place really to make sure this is perfect. But essentially, that's what we're working with. So we're coming off of there, we're coming swooping round, and the other one is going to curl round, comes down the middle of this one. It might look a little bit duggy to you now, and you might be thinking, what on earth? But when it's on there, it actually looks pretty smart, and they're both very close to equal length to each other. From this part here anyway, like I said, this part goes underneath and goes to the back, so technically it's not an equal length. We could have just done it shorter like that and tried to get a more equal length, but it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. We're going to try and keep everything we're building at the back equal length. So what the end result will be is the ports what come from the front of the engine will still be longer than the back one, so it will still sound it won't sound smooth, but you're going to get a Subaru type sound from it, definitely. But if there was all a different length to each other, it's going to sound like it's got a misfire. So I'm going to get a little bit further with this. We're going to probably get this front one tacked up, and then we'll show you a little bit more on these blocks and how we use them, really. The benefit of them is there's no waste. So we could be chopping bends up all willy-nilly here and then figure out we don't like it, and then there's a lot of waste. So let us get this front one tacked up, and then we'll show you how we go along with the other one. This one's all welded now, perfect. It's still going to want, these still want welding here, and then these are all going to be welded round, but we're not going to do that yet. Just have a quick trial run with this one now before we start cutting some material. And there we go, that's mocked up in plastic. That's what it's going to look like in metal. All flows nice, both of them pretty close to equal length, very, very close. And that'll be this side considered done, really. Then the plan will be for top ones to come out 180 degrees, really, and keep it as short as we can to that side. So then hopefully this side is as rough same length as this side, or pretty close to. That's the aim, try and get them all pretty close. Cool, right, let's cut this one. I want this done. Right, it might look like a curly-whirly mess, but they are pretty close to equal length, all tacked together now as well. And we've still got a little bit of space here to get heat exchanger pipe off and through that hole. Absolutely crazy tight. And silencer fits just. Silencer just fits in, but once that silencer's in, all your space is gone. So we've got room now, we've got to come off of both of these with two 180s, keep them up round here to get to these ports here. Oh, what a graft. Right, this one back off. Weld it all up, and yeah, we'll keep going. Just go on the other side then. Let's go. Right, so firstly, apologies I didn't show much more detail on that. Making headers is very, very time consuming. It's hard to film and hard to work. So let me just run through a couple of things. It's looking pretty curly-whirly. Let me just run through why we've done it like we've done it. So, like I said, the heat exchanger pipe needs to come off of this, go through that hole, and it goes up there to a heater box up there. So at that, we should just about be able to get the flexible tube off of that onto there. That's why I swerved that one right down there and curled round. Why have I curled it all round like this? Why didn't I just come off and go straight onto it? Well, the reason being I'm trying to keep them somewhat similar lengthwise to this side. They're always going to be odd length because this one is a port what obviously comes around back of the engine. So this one and this one are always going to be longer than the front two. So in an ideal world, you'd want them all equal length, but it's just not possible in this application. It's impossible. You can't do it. So this one I could have done. I could have done this one. I could have done this front port nice and short, and then I could have done the other one long. That would have kept them side equal length. But this side, I've obviously got to get this one into this collector. So there were no way of doing it. So I figured the best way to do it would be to keep these two the same length, keep the top two, or keep them all roughly the same length. So what's the plan now then? Now the plan, we've got that out there, we need to come off of these top two, we'll do 180s, 180, so they're both pointing this way like that. And then just link them to this in the easiest simple way possible. This one's gonna have to come off and sort of swoop down, because again, we've got another heat exchanger pipe, which has got to go up through there. This one it seems a better angle on this side than that side. Unsure why, this one seems better. So it's not gonna have to be nothing too technical. But yeah, we're going to come off of that nice and tight, give that pipe plenty of room, and then just simply swoop round and join onto the pipe. This one is going to come straight off and straight up, I think. Just try and keep pipes looking nice to each other. That's my goal. Once that's done, silencer's already made. Silencer goes up there, then we're going to come off of this. We're going to probably have to come, because the silencer sits quite close to it, we're probably going to have to come sort of like off, down and round and into the box. it'd be nice to put a V-band on box just because then the box will be removable, because one thing I'm thinking is this is going to be a pain in the ass to remove. So if we put a V-band on box, might make us life a little bit easier for removing. We'll see how we get on. Let's get these top two 180s cut and let's just keep winging it. See how we get on. Just a bit more insight on how these blocks actually work then. The radius of these blocks is designed for Schedule 10, not for thin wall bends what we're using, but it's close and it gives you a rough idea anyway. Each one of these blocks here is 30 degrees, so 30, 60, 90 degrees. I want a 60 degree bend because this is what we've just mocked up. Fits nice to my collector. So draw a line over there, line it on the other side. That then is 60 degrees, that bit is 30 degrees. That's how the blocks work. I can't hold it all up and film with one hand, but essentially that goes onto there like that. That swoops round, 90 degree tight radius onto that. That gives us space to get the heat exchanger pipe through that hole, and it all lines up. I can't show you because I've only got two hands, but believe me, it does. I'll show you in a minute when it's stainless version. So yeah, essentially all we need to do is copy that in stainless steel. That's how we do it. Straight in, absolutely straight in. Still going to be tight through this hole with that conduit stuff, but it's like dryer tube, so it's great bendy, so that'll be fine. We'll get it in. At least as worries at the moment. Sorted. That's 3 runners done. Well, not done, that one needs welding, but we're going to get this other one mocked up, try and get it parallel to that one, make sure silencer still fits in. I'd say that's good progress. What about you boys? Right, runner number 2 all tacked together. Will it fit straight on? Bit of pressure to pull it into that V-band, but I'd consider that a success. That looks like it's in there to me. It all looks parallel. So that's main aim at game. All these need to be parallel to each other. So it can't be parallel down there, but right, that silencer should still fit in there now. Let's check it. Let's check that silencer. Oh, God, it's tight. It's in there though. So we're literally a fingertip gap with collector, fingertip gap with bumper. So the last part is we're going to have to get that tacked into that V-band now. See, there's a little bit of a gap, look, pull it in like that. Then we've got to get that to there. And I want to try and get a V-band on that if I can. But again, we are limited by space, very, very limited by space. Sweet, right, let's get them runners welded.
This is FAZ music.
There we go, all welded up, back in position. Now's plan is to tack all of these in position, tack it to this V-band here, tack that one to that flange, take the whole thing off, get it all welded one solid. Oh yeah, them as well, they need welding. Take the whole thing off, get it all welded solid, and then we're going to try and put a V-band here somewhere, so that is removable from the silencer, just because I'm thinking if that silencer's there in where you cannot see any of this, no, to tighten any of these ports or these flanges on ports. So I'm thinking it's going to be better if silencer's removable. Looking good though, boys, looking good. Let's see how easy it all comes off then. We've just had a mock up. That V-band's going to go straight there on the end of that, and it does give us space to get out of it into the silencer, we think. Let's see. And there we go, all welded up. Time to get them back on. I have put a V-band on that part now, so once these are on, they haven't got to come back off. We can do all back section without disturbing this every 2 seconds. It's like a work of art, and it looks like it should be hung up on a wall, not going on this car. It's a shame to start it. But yeah, what a graph that were. That were not easy at all. I did tell Joe that this wouldn't be easy, and it weren't. Let's get them back on, and let's get silencer on there, and then figure out how on earth we're going to mount it and get it out of my way. Then I can get back on with my escort. link pipe done, lander sensor in, into the silencer. Last leg at journey then. Tack it into the silencer here, but the crucial bit now is we've got to make sure these tips are level so the height's right on both sides. And then at the moment they're sticking out like two cannons on a warship, so they need pulling in a little bit, like pulling in a lot actually. They want pulling in at least that much. Looking at pictures of what they look like on other classic Beetles. Also looking at other pictures of classic Beetle exhaust, they don't have any mount points. The whole thing just dangles on manifold, which scares me a little bit, but there is absolutely nowhere to put any hangers on that. Very tight for space, so looks like it's all just dangling on manifold. It is going to need some sort of bracket here on this part, because it could spin on that when it gets warm, so we'll put a bracket on here that bolts together, still makes it removable, but it'll just stop it from ever moving on its pivot point. But you know what, really happy with that. It looks smart. Let's get this final leg done, let's get this box tacked up, and let's get this job out of here. So I'm just cutting tips down. Connor's got his college instructor here today. He's been watching him do some welding and stuff, keeping he's passed his course. Well guys, unfortunately it is not a finished project at the moment, so it has just been converted to EFI, electronic fuel injection, so it doesn't run at the moment. So the exhaust was one of the final pieces of the puzzle. So there is no sound clip after, which is a shame, but I hope you've enjoyed watching that, because what a graph that was. Look at it, looks like it belongs in an art gallery. It seems a shame to start it. I'm actually proud of that. So now that's done, that's been the project what's been sat underneath that for a long time. It's been sat underneath there for ages, in my way, so I couldn't get anything done on the Escort. So now the Beetle's done, you know what that means? It means I can get back on with the Escort. So very shortly, Escort video will be incoming. Excited to finally get this, well, finished really. I mean, there's still a fair lot to do, I'll be honest, but it won't be long, and I will be ripping that soon, and I can't wait. So stay tuned for Escort video. We'll get a couple of reps again.